30 years after a Kansas woman was murdered in a Wichita restaurant, her daughter is fighting to keep one of the killers behind bars.
The woman is due for a parole hearing, but many feel it's too soon. KSN's Craig Andrus has the story.
A shot rang out. The night manager, Julia Rosenhammer, was shot in the chest and later died.
A couple of crooks with guns come in. There's a shooting on North Broadway, and the manager, Julie Rosenhammer, is killed. It was one of the first Crime Stoppers tips in Wichita that paid off.
25-year-old Regina Baldwin and 31-year-old Eric Kelly were charged with murder, aggravated robbery, and kidnapping.
Two women then sentenced, one to life, but now, some 30 years later, Regina Baldwin has done her time and is up for parole. The victim's daughter, Kelly Malone, was 3 when it happened, and she's pushing to keep the two convicted of the crime behind bars.
I don't think that there is ever enough time when you take someone's life.
And losing her mother meant Kelly and her siblings were split up, farmed out to different grandmothers and cousins, so they missed out on growing up as a family. Now Kelly Malone is all grown up, kids of her own, and all these years later, she still wonders.
Kelly says when you get a look at the old video, yes, 3 decades by any measure is probably a very long time. And while she's ready to forgive, she says she's just not ready to forget. And that's why this push to keep this person in prison.
My life will never be what it could have been if I would have had my mother growing up. And for certain crimes, I think that there should be, a limit for when they get out. But when you take someone's life, I don't think you should ever get out of prison.
And Kelly's not alone. The Wichita group, called Parents of Murdered Children, often get involved in cases like these, trying to keep those convicted of murder from getting out.
You can put these guys or gals away for 10 years. That's not a life sentence. They need to stiffen the sentences and build more prisons.
Radke's advice: get the petitions out and see if the parole board will listen. Julie says she's going to do just that.
Kelly Malone is also planning an informal protest outside the parole hearing in Wichita tomorrow. Keep it on KSN for the parole board's decision.